Good morning, students. I am Riya Sinha, your SST teacher. Today, we will continue the revision of chapter number 1 of Civics, that is the Indian Constitution. In the previous class, we learned the definition of constitution and need of constitution in a democratic country. As we discussed in the earlier class, constitution is a set of rules that guides how a country, state, or other political organization works. And it may also state the rights of citizens. As we all know, India is a democratic country, so it has also a constitution. Today, we are going to discuss our next topic, that is the Indian Constitution. In 1934, the Indian National Congress made the demand for a constituent assembly. During the Second World War, this assertion for an independent constituent assembly formed only of Indians gained momentum, and this was convened in December 1946. Between December 1946 and November 1949, the Constituent Assembly drafted a constitution for independent India. Free to shape their destiny at last, after 150 years of British rule, the members of the Constituent Assembly approached this task with the great idealism that the freedom struggle had helped produce. This was done not by one person but by a group of around 300 people who became members of the Constituent Assembly in 1946 and who met periodically for the next 3 years to write India's constitution. There was an extraordinary sense of unity amongst the members of the Constituent Assembly. Each of the provisions of the future constitution was discussed in great detail, and there was a sincere effort to compromise and reach an agreement through consensus. Some of the key features of our Indian Constitution are as follows. First is federalism. Federalism refers to the existence of more than one level of government in the country. In India, we have governments at the state level and at the center. Panchayati Raj is the third tier of government. Second feature of our Indian Constitution is parliamentary form of government. The different tiers of government that you just read about consist of representatives who are elected by the people. People of India have a direct role in electing their representatives. Also, every citizen of the country, irrespective of his or her social background, can also contest in elections. These representatives are accountable to the people. Our next feature is separation of powers. According to the Constitution, there are 3 organs of government. These are the legislatures, the executive, and the judiciary. Power is mainly separated in these 3 organs of government. First is legislature, second is executive, and third is judiciary. The legislature refers to our elected representatives. The executive is a smaller group of people who are responsible for implementing laws and running the government. The judiciary refers to the system of courts in this country. In order to prevent the misuse of power by any one branch of government, the Constitution says that each of these organs should exercise different powers. Through this, each organ acts as a check on the other organs of government, and this ensures the balance of power between all 3. Fourth feature of our Indian Constitution is fundamental rights. The section on fundamental rights has often been referred to as the conscience of the Indian Constitution. Colonial rule has created a certain suspicion of the state in the minds of the nationalists, and they wanted to ensure that a set of written rights would guard against the misuse of state power in independent India. Fundamental rights, therefore, protect citizens against the arbitrary and absolute exercise of power by the state. The Constitution thus guarantees the rights of individual against the state as well as against other individuals. As Dr. Ambedkar has said about these fundamental rights, their object is twofold. The first objective is that every citizen must be in a position to claim those rights, and secondly, these rights must be binding upon every authority that has got the power to make laws. The fundamental rights in the Indian Constitution include: first is right to equality. All persons are equal before the law. This means that all persons shall be equally protected by the laws of the country. It also states that no citizen can be discriminated against on the basis of their religion, caste or sex. Second fundamental right is right to freedom. This includes the right to freedom of speech and expression, the right to form association, the right to move freely and reside in any part of the country, and the right to practice any profession, occupation or business. Third fundamental right is right against exploitation. The Constitution prohibits human trafficking, forced labor and employment of children under 14 years of age. Next fundamental right is right to freedom of religion. Religious freedom is provided to all citizens. Every person has the right to practice, profess and propagate the religion of their choice. Fifth fundamental right is cultural and educational rights. The Constitution states that all minorities, religious or linguistic, can set up their own educational institution in order to preserve and develop their own culture. Last fundamental right is right to constitutional remedies. This allows citizens to move the court if they believe that any of their fundamental rights have been violated by the state. In addition to fundamental rights, the Constitution also has a section called Directive Principles of State Policy. This section was designed by the members of the Constituent Assembly to ensure greater social and economic reforms and to serve as a guide to the independent Indian state to institute laws and policies that help reduce the poverty of the masses. Now come to the fifth feature of our Constitution, that is secularism. A secular state is one in which the state does not officially promote any one religion as their state religion, like our India. It doesn't promote any one religion, all the religions are equal here. Now you all understand the ways in which a country's history often determines the kinds of constitution that a country adopts for itself. Now we have covered all the topics of this chapter, so I am giving you homework to write and learn all the given keywords. Stay at home and stay safe. Thank you.